Hey guys, what's going on? So today we are doing a beginner's guide for Phantomgate, and I like to do this with games I've been playing for a bit as a sort of general overview for what I have sort of learned about the game and what I would recommend for beginners. We kind of started on a fresh reset here. It just reset it about an hour ago, so we can kind of go through all those like daily sort of things. Before we get started, I want to thank Netmarble for sponsoring this series. I will be leaving a link to download the game in the description below if you want to check it out and play along. And with that being said, let's get into it. Here, the statue of Freya. That resets every 6 hours. You get some free souls. I don't really need them super hard right now, but, you know, free souls, and you leveled her up as well. That's good. So make sure to visit that as often as you can. But yeah, I would say as a beginner, the most important thing you should be focusing on is story mode, because through story mode, you get access to a variety of different things. And this is kind of different where you don't just get access to everything straight at the beginning. Like I just got access to jewels by going through chapter 3. I think it was on 3-7 or something. And you know, that can take quite a while if you're a normal player. I'm sure there are people out there that get past chapter 3, 4, 5, 6 into the first day or whatever, but yeah, for a normal person, that can take a while, so I would recommend focusing on doing story mode so you can start equipping your guys with gems, which they get a lot of power from, actually, and you can sort of make them more your own in that way by giving, like, attackers more attack. You can even make attackers more defensive if you want to by giving them defense jewels, etc., etc., so that really brings a bit more customization to the table, and I think that's good. Besides that, of course, you will unlock more heroes as you progress. Ragna, for me, will be unlocked pretty soon at stage 4-3. I believe that's my next stage, actually, so that's pretty cool. I recently got Tia. She is my favorite, and she is unlocked somewhere in chapter 3, I believe. Maybe it's a little bit earlier. That doesn't matter, but she's really nice. Also, in addition to that, you can awaken your heroes once you beat chapter 5, so more of a reason to keep going for that story mode. And of course, once you run into like a bottleneck, you know, you can't go any further in story mode because your heroes are too weak, or your phantoms, you of course want to raise them up. Now me personally, I'm using all T1 heroes because I don't think I even have any T2s. I don't indeed. I wasn't super lucky with my pulls this time around. I had one T2 and it was just kind of a healer on like my first account. So it wasn't that great either, even though it was a nice healer. The point is, I think T1s are perfectly acceptable and perfectly fine for the beginning. These guys have been serving me very well. Of course, if you do get your hands on a T2, ET1, ET2, etc., lucky summons, I'm sure it would be worth raising them as well. T2s are actually farmable, and I believe even ET1s will eventually be farmable on ultra hard. T2s here, you can see I have, you know, a good chunk of a lot of these guys. I'm nearly a third of the way with a lot of them because I can start doing hard mode, albeit just on like the first chapter and a half, which kind of brings us into the next thing, and that's phantom farming. So of course, each stage you can complete will drop a certain phantom. Here on normal mode, for example, we have the sloth essence. Here we have war bear. So with your extra stamina each day when you're too weak to continue going on in story mode, you want to go to your phantom list, see which ones you are really thinking about investing in and raising heavily. For example, I've been going after this guy quite a bit, so I've been farming his shards, got him up to 4 and 2 golden stars. It's not super great right now, but you know, whatever. Need 6 more essence to get his 3rd golden star, and that's kind of enhancing in a nutshell. Once you get the 4th golden star, you can get them up to 5-star, and then from there on, blah blah blah. And of course, giving them more stars gives them more stats, and once they have all golden stars, you can evolve them and even change their element. At 5-star, I could even choose to make him a fire type, and then at 6-star, I can choose from any 4 elements, which is pretty cool. If you are focusing on one main team, they will pretty much always be around the same level as your hero, because you're always taking them into the same place and they're always getting the same experience. But of course, if they're not, if they're like 2 or 3 levels below your main hero, you definitely want to feed them some phantom souls and raise their level up to your hero's level, because they get a lot of good stat increases like that as well. I mostly don't bother with that because I'm taking pretty much the same 3 everywhere, and then they in turn are around the same level as my max level anyway. Also, another good thing about the T1s is they are very easy to enhance, because as I said, you can find them in just normal story mode. And of course, if you want to find out exactly where they are, you can just hit the little plus button and then you'll see all the stages. So currently I can farm 2 different stages for this guy. So if I wanted to get him up to, you know, 5-star eventually, I would go to chapter 1, normal mode, go to gate zone, and then, you know, I could do my 5 auto clears, although that would be kind of a waste considering how easy this is and how fast it would be just to auto it normally. And so I would rather just use stamina for that. Sometimes the stage can even drop 2 of the shards, so they're very generous with the shard drops. honestly. Of course, the stronger phantoms are quite a bit harder to get, obviously, since you have to go to such a high difficulty. But like I said, even these dudes, they're not so bad, at least for the beginning. So just from those 5 runs, we actually do have enough to enhance him to the 3rd golden star and get some more stat increases, as you can see there. Quite a significant bump just from 1 extra star. So we would need 24 more essence now, so then we can get his last golden star, and then we can evolve him to 5-star. We also have the Petalin hair here, although I haven't really seen too much that's worth it. I mean, maybe the pebbles, but like the evolution runes, they definitely don't seem worth it, because at least for now, they kind of seem extremely common just from running through stages and such. Also, of course, don't forget to do your free summon every day. Once you do 10 of them, you get a whole phantom, and this includes free summons. So, you know, every 10 days, and you don't even have to spend gems, you will get a whole phantom 3 to 6 star. Something I actually didn't notice with the summoning for a while is that there is a jewels section, so you can even summon for jewels. I did this a bit when I was in that awkward transition stage from being able to equip jewels but not really strong enough to run the hard stages to get them, or the new piece of content where you can actually farm the jewels, only 5 times a day though, unfortunately. Speaking of which, these 3 pieces of content are also unlocked as you progress through the chapter. Again, another reason to focus on that. This is more of a passive thing where you send some phantoms out to go get you some rewards. Just gold, I believe. I don't think there's anything else even later on. I think it's just gold, but gold's cool. You want to, of course, use your weakest 1 stars on the first ones, your weakest 2 stars, and the weakest 3 stars naturally. Just try and hit the phantom level sum, so you get all the rewards. Unfortunately, I only have a total of 4 that are 3-star or above, so I could just do like these 4 even though I'm way over the level sum. That would just be what I would have to do. And then, you know, you could do your 2 stars, make sure to only include the 2 stars in there. Don't hit my level cap, so we could take a level 6 out of there and put him in there. We're at 35 out of 38, so it's almost there. I think I'll keep it like that. You could do all of them every day if you have enough phantoms, and I don't think you can reuse phantoms in the same day, as far as I've seen that. So unless we want to raise a couple more to go for these, we're kind of missing out on a bit of gold there. Well, we can do this one. Easy. So if you want to do some math and make it totally efficient, go for it. But Shrine of Jewels is pretty interesting. You got some different dudes open each day. You fight them. They're pretty tough, even on normal mode, I've noticed. When you just open it, of course, everything's going to be tough. But yeah, you get some jewels here, which increase your stats. Nothing really else to say there, I guess. You know, once you go to hard, you can start getting rare jewels, and then ultra hard, you can start getting some ultra. I guess they're actually called unique. Also, don't forget to check your Yggdrasil every now and then. You might be missing some gems or even some stat bonuses if you haven't checked it in a long time. Anything with a red dot means you've completed something in it. For example, this guy here. 10 gems, nice. If you have a lot of completed, it might just make more sense just to scroll around until you see that you have something that's finished. I think that was actually it for us, unfortunately. Oh no, here we go. As far as team creation goes, that's still a bit hard for me, and I'm still a bit in the dark about that. I personally have always liked DPS, so I take like 3 DPS with me and 1 healer. Taking a tank would probably make things go a bit smoother, so that's typically my sort of team comp. 3 DPS and a support for the most part, and then throwing in a tank instead of a DPS for the harder stuff. Of course, the beauty is you can do whatever the hell you want to. You can have 4 tanks in there. I've actually noticed tanks do quite significant damage actually while being tanky, so it's definitely an option here. Also, something relatively easy to miss is the friends that you can bless them as well. I think you need to do that for an achievement or a daily quest or whatever. So just note that there. Another sort of easy thing to miss, which we'll get into as soon as I collect this stuff, is this little menu button down here. For the longest time, I thought this was just like etc. stuff, which it kind of is. I mean, it says etc. there, but there are some pretty interesting things here, like the loyalty shop. I didn't know about this until like just 3 days ago or something. And this is where you can spend your loyalty points, and you get 1 of these loyalty points per gem you spend. You can buy some ET2 essence, some ET1 essence down here. Incredibly expensive, of course, but you do have to realize that the loyalty points are completely free, and they just come bonus when you spend your gems. We also have jewels, although I don't know how hard E's are to get, if they're strictly from like this shop or from the jewel pools, or if you could eventually get like rares up to uniques, up to epics, by way of upgrading them. Besides that, of course, we also have the Altar of Runes, where you can make higher level runes, turning 1 stars into 2 stars, 2 stars into 3 stars, 3 stars into 4 stars, and 4 stars into 5 stars, although when you get up to here, you need some extra stuff. One thing I can say though is I wouldn't focus too heavily on arena right now, at least if you're not like going for the competitive side of the game. There doesn't seem to be enough value in here to spend so much time doing it, and besides that, you may need a sort of dedicated team, and right now I'm more focusing on getting through the story. Of course, I'm going to be focusing on arena later on, like when the story and everything is complete. But I mean, you don't really get that much for doing arena. As far as I'm aware, you do get a season reward, 5 extra gems per tier you climb up. So, I mean, unless you're like going really hardcore and you get up to at least like, you know, Challenger tier 1, those are some good crystals. So that's why I say I don't really find it being super worth it early on. Focus your team around story mode, getting all that extra content unlocked, being able to equip jewels, getting those extra heroes. I would say the main takeaway is focus on story mode, raise your phantoms as you need to. Don't invest more heavily than you need to into the T1 units, although like I said, I'm sure there are a lot of good ones. It's just if you come across someone better, you'll still have some stuff for them. Doing your dailies is also very important, not only because you get a good chunk of gold here, but also from these side rewards you get a lot of experience, and that can also help you increase your player level, which gives you overall strength as well, because it increases the level cap of all your phantoms. I would try and at least participate in arena 5 times a day to get those 10 crystals, of course. If you really don't want to deal with it, then you can enter and leave, and that still counts. But yeah, I guess that'll pretty much do it. Generally, again, this is a video directed at like very beginners, you know, just to get a sort of solid grasp about your focus, I would say, in the game, and that's kind of the conclusion I came to. Of course, everyone has their own opinions and stuff they want to say, but of course, if you do have anything to say, you can drop it down there in the comments below. If you want to download the game and play along, then I'll be leaving that link in the description below. And I want to wrap this up by once again giving a thanks to Netmarble for sponsoring this series. But with that said, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Make sure to leave a like if you'd happen to enjoy. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.